NCAA basketball totals for Thursday, January 19th. We got 3 games on the card today. Yesterday was a pretty good day as we went 3-0 on the card. So let's see if we can continue that momentum. Still a really solid winning record in NCAA hoops. Don't forget to check out our NBA segment as well. That's going on live 4 o'clock Eastern on our Facebook page. Unfortunately, yesterday, bad day going 1-3 on our NBA picks. But NCAA was good, so that picked up some of the slack. And again, we're having a good season with NCAA hoops, and we just need to pick it up now in the NBA. Don't forget to check it also sbrpicks.com, Sportsbook reviews, sign-up bonuses, our Facebook page, YouTube channel, all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and let's dive into some totals. Again, for you new guys, this is a segment where we look at totals set by odds makers, and we try to beat that line either going over or under. We do that for NCAA basketball. That's this segment right here, and then we do it for NBA hoops as well. All right, let's jump into some totals. First one up, we got Maryland and Iowa. Odds makers have this game at 150, and I'm going under this total. The last 3 times these two have met up since Maryland joined the Big Ten, they've been under. 140, the odds makers set it at 147, then they set it at 134.5, 137.5. Now we got, of course, Fran McCaffrey, runs really fast tempo. But the last matchup they had, 74-68, was a Maryland win. The last one at Iowa was 71-55, in which Iowa won. So, that 150, that's the highest total we've seen between these two teams since they've been meeting up. And one of the matchups doesn't really count because it was back in '99. So just since the last few seasons, we've seen some recently, high totals, close to 140. But for Iowa, if it's not over 150, you really have to take a look at it. And although this is lower than what we've seen, like the last time they met up, there's good reason for it. And there's a reason why these two teams go under. So I'm going to go back under this total. When we dig into these stats just a little bit more, you talk about a Maryland team that goes at a pretty slow clip under Mark Turgeon, and they play some pretty good defense. Now, they are at Iowa, so that gives me a little bit of pause, but Iowa's just a little bit down this year. Right now, they're averaging 81.5 points per game. They're 29th in the country. That's outstanding. Maryland, 74.2. Not so great about in the middle of the league. Maryland plays really good defense, though. They're allowing just 66.3 points per game, and statistically, they have some nice defensive statistics. Are they going to be able to stop Iowa tonight in Iowa? That's the big question. I think they're going to be able to slow them down enough to keep this game to a reasonable final. Right now, you got Maryland. They're ranked 33rd and 38th in the country in opponent shooting opponent effective field goal percentage and opponent shooting efficiency. They also are allowing opponents to shoot just under 41% overall, which ranks in the top part of the country. Iowa is actually surprisingly statistically a decent defensive team, as they're allowing opponents to shoot just 43% from the floor. So the issue tonight is going to be tempo. Iowa likes to go really fast. Maryland doesn't. There's quite a big disparity in that aspect, but I think because it's 150 and not over 150, I think odds makers are on top of this, so I'm going to go back under that total. All right, next one up we got is Richmond and Dayton. Now, kind of the same scenario as far as the trend, but we have a much richer history here with these two teams. Odds makers have this total right now at 141.5. Remember that hook. And I'm going over. Now, that 141.5, that's the highest total we have seen with Richmond and Dayton since 2004. They had one other one that matches it, 141.5, and that was last year, in which they went over the total 85 to 84. I'd have to check if that was overtime, because honestly, I didn't check it. I'll check it right now as we're doing this segment, because we got to make sure we have all the information. I checked the number, but I didn't check how tight that total was. So I'll be sure to check that out as we're talking about the statistics here. So I'm going to go over this total because, again, this is the highest total we've seen from them since 2004, except for that one last year. The other total they had was 140, and they went under that. So I think odds makers are setting it up a point and a half more. And this year, NBA and NCAA segment has been really getting up and down. So I'm going to go ahead and take over this total. I think there's going to be quite a bit of scoring here as I go ahead and start to pull up this matchup from last season. Just give me 1 second on this. I don't want to lose this segment. I don't want to erase this. I just want to keep it going, and I'll look that up in just give me one more heartbeat. Let's talk about that last one I'm going to do. Well, first, let's talk more about Richmond and Dayton, about their stats. And why I like this to go over, despite the fact of the trend, is you got two teams that could score. You got Richmond right now, they're averaging 73.4 points per game, ranks right in the middle of the country. Dayton, 74.5, right in the middle of the country, but they both could shoot. You got right now, Richmond shooting 54.8% on their 2-point shots. That ranks 22nd in the country. And Dayton really good across the board, 45.7% shooting overall. They shoot 51.7% on their 2-point shots, 36.3% from distance. Not bad at all. And defensively, they're a little bit down than we've seen in years past, and they really go at a pretty quick tempo. Defensively, both these teams are pretty solid, but that 141.5, it actually looks a little bit too high, but I don't think it is. I think odds makers have it set right. So as I go ahead, and I'm still looking to get to that top, I just want to make sure it wasn't overtime. That's the only thing I want to make sure we have that right. So they met up in the tournament last year at March 11th, 69-54, really low scoring affair. Prior to that, no, it wasn't overtime. It was just 85-84. They got up and down the floor, and that was at Richmond. So this game today is at Dayton, but still, I like it to get over that 141.5. Sorry, that was really bouncing around that one, but we want to make sure we get all the information, so I'm kind of treating this like a live segment almost, if you will. I just didn't want to go back in a race because I already thought we had some pretty solid statistics. Let's continue. All right, last one up. We got Arizona USC, 143.5, and I'm going under. USC, although they do push tempo, they're a surprisingly good defensive team. And another reason, let's look at the trend here. Now, Andy Enfield does a great job for USC across the board, but we look at their last two totals, 157.5, 155.5. Those are the last two games, and both of them were over. Now odds makers come out with this total here. Doesn't make a ton of sense because both these teams can score. Now, I understand Arizona is a little bit light with I think Trier is still out if I'm saying his name correctly. But that 143.5, these are two teams that could flat out play some defense, and I think they're going to do that tonight. Let's look at their defensive statistics. I mean, they're both extremely well coached. It's at USC. USC might give Arizona a little bit. I got to check the line on that. But let me talk about this first, and then I'll go back and check that line. That's going to be a heck of a game. Arizona right now, they're allowing 61.6 points per game. That's 12th in the country. USC, 70.7, which ranks just outside the top 100 teams, but they are at home, and they are a good defensive team. Statistically, you're talking about a team right now, they're allowing opponents to shoot just under 41% and only 44.6% on their 2-point shots. That's really, really solid. Now, both these teams could shoot statistically. They rank in about the middle of the country. Arizona a little bit better than USC, but the game is at USC. So I look for them to go ahead and do a nice job defensively as I go ahead. I do want to check the line on this real quick. That's piqued my interest. And yeah, Arizona is a -4.5 favorite. I kind of like USC getting the points in that one. Okay, let's wrap this up. I kind of treated this like the live segment as I had to bounce around a little bit, but we were in the middle of it, so I think it's okay, and I hope you guys enjoy the segment. Share it. Comments. We're always open to hear what you guys have to say. All right, here we go. At Maryland and Iowa under the 150, Richmond and Dayton over the 141.5, and Arizona USC under the 143.5. Those are our three plays in NCAA hoops on the totals, and I wish you luck on your picks today.
Go to SBRodds.com. Browse, compare, and shop live odds available at top online sportsbooks.